Ayan grew up in a forgotten slum at the edge of a booming city, where opportunity passed like clouds, drifting above but never falling as rain. His father broke bricks for a living, and his mother stitched clothes by candlelight. Their home had no electricity, no running water, and yet Ayan always found something to admire, even if it was just the patterns in the cracks of their mud wall. While other boys played cricket with broken bats, Ayan collected pebbles of different shapes and sold them to tourists outside the park. He believed each pebble told a story, and with his smooth words and glowing eyes, he convinced buyers that they were holding more than stone. They were holding dreams. He made mere coins, but those coins whispered louder promises than the silence of hunger. One evening, as he stood watching a luxurious black car crawl past their alley, Ayan said something that startled even his own mother. "One day, I'll own a house bigger than that car." The neighbors laughed. His mother didn't. She had seen that look in his eyes before, when he taught himself English using torn pages from an old grammar book, or when he practiced shaking hands like the rich men did on TV. There was a hunger in Ayan, not for food, but for change. And in that hunger, he learned the first truth of wealth. It is born in the mind long before it exists in the world. At 14, Ayan discovered a small, dusty public library hidden between a tea stall and a broken-down meat shop. It had no door and barely any shelves, but it held books that became ladders in his mind. Every day after selling pebbles, he would sit cross-legged in that space, devouring biographies of inventors, entrepreneurs, and leaders who had risen from nothing. Each page he read seemed to whisper, "You can rise too." He studied how Rockefeller started with oil and Andrew Carnegie with steel, but what stuck with him most was the way they thought, not about money, but about value. Ayan realized that while he had no capital, he had the one thing even billionaires couldn't buy: time and imagination. Soon he started applying what he learned. He offered to sweep the local tailor's shop for free in exchange for learning how the business worked. He noticed what customers like, how cloth was priced, and how delays cost loyalty. Ayan began sketching shirt designs and suggesting styles to the tailor's regulars. Within months, he was trusted with speaking to clients, and before long, customers returned asking for the boy with ideas. Ayan didn't just want to earn, he wanted to learn how systems worked, and more importantly, how people thought. He realized rich people didn't chase money, they built systems that attracted money. And if he could understand people, he could build anything. Ayan saved every rupee he earned. While other boys bought cheap phones and fast food, Ayan bought a second-hand sewing machine and began tailoring from home at night. His designs stood out. He combined classic styles from the books he'd read with the local trends he observed, giving customers something different, something memorable. He also attached handwritten thank you notes to each shirt. His clients noticed. They didn't just buy his clothes, they remembered his manners, his dreams, and his determination. By 18, he had saved enough to rent a tiny room that he called Ayan's studio. It had one light bulb and one mirror, but to him, it was a palace. Word spread fast. A local influencer wore one of his designs and posted it online. Orders started trickling in. He stayed up through nights sewing, measuring, and delivering by hand, refusing to compromise on quality. He reinvested every penny, never buying what he didn't need. His friends mocked him for not upgrading his lifestyle, but Ayan had learned another secret of the rich: assets first, lifestyle later. He wasn't rich yet, but he was walking the road that led there. And as he walked, that first rupee he saved seemed to grow legs of its own, running faster than he ever could. By the time Ayan turned 21, he had 3 tailors working under him. He had registered his brand and opened a modest showroom with clean walls, soft lighting, and music that made customers feel like royalty. Still, he stayed mostly quiet, letting the quality of his work do the talking. While others chased visibility, he chased substance. He didn't flaunt wealth he hadn't earned yet. He read about silent millionaires, those who walked the streets in plain clothes but had empires built on quiet decisions. That became his model. Ion's success didn't explode, it expanded. He learned the art of delegation, the science of pricing, and the psychology of branding. He hired slow, fired faster, and built systems that didn't depend on his constant presence. His mornings were spent strategizing, his evenings studying financial statements. He wasn't just a tailor now, he was a businessman. His mother, now living comfortably in a sunlit apartment he bought her, sometimes cried watching him. He'd say, "Ma, I'm still that boy who sold pebbles." But inside, he knew he had transformed. And he knew this truth: silence is the language of focused minds, and the richest minds think quietly, build patiently, and grow relentlessly. But no journey to wealth is a straight line. At 23, a competitor stole Ion's entire customer database and undercut his prices. Orders dropped, 2 of his tailors left, rent was due, his savings bled fast. For the first time in years, Ion felt fear whisper in his ear. But he didn't panic. Instead, he turned inward and remembered why he started. He sat down with his books again. He reviewed every business mistake he made, tracked every leak in the pipeline, and listed every loyal customer left. Then he called them, not to sell, but to ask, "How can I serve you better?" The response shocked him. His honesty struck a chord. Not only did customers return, but they recommended others. Ion redesigned his brand around values: trust, service, and authenticity. He raised prices and focused on premium clientele. He realized another truth: the rich aren't afraid of storms. They design ships strong enough to sail through. And in that storm, Ion didn't just recover, he redefined himself. From a boy with a needle, he became a man with a mission.